The sun beat down on a street in New Orleans, the humid air thick with the scent of simmering spices and the distant echo of joyful shouts. Suddenly, a patrol car tore through the tranquility, its tires howling against the fractured pavement. A tall, formidable woman moved with resolute strides, her gaze as keen as a honed blade. She was unaware she was about to confront an officer convinced he could break her spirit, but he had no inkling of the force he was up against. This wasn't merely a tale, it was a collision of wills, a moment that would shatter a man's arrogance and reverberate through the avenues of the Crescent City forever. Stay with me, because what's coming will leave you astounded. Before we plunge in, let me ask you something. If you appreciate narratives that quicken your pulse, that inspire you to rise and exclaim, yes, that's how it's done, then subscribe now and hit the bell so you don't miss a single second of these compelling sagas. Let's embark on this journey together. It was a late afternoon in spring, the sun suspended low over New Orleans, painting the sky with hues of amber and crimson that cascaded like liquid gold over the crumbling footpaths. Captain Eva Vance navigated those streets with a quiet self-assurance, the kind that only years of rigorous training bring, of confronting the worst and emerging unscathed. Her dark eyes, as profound as strong coffee, surveyed the neighborhood. Everything felt familiar yet foreign, like a half-remembered dream. 7 years had passed since she last walked these streets, since she departed after her mother's farewell and enlisted in the service. Yet, time seemed to have paused. The same corner market, its faded sign advertising discounted beverages, the same barbershop with its worn chairs, the same basketball court where youngsters played as if every hoop determined the fate of the world. The aroma of fried seafood wafted from old Madame LeBlanc's eatery, embracing her like a comforting shroud she hadn't anticipated. Eva adjusted the travel bag slung over her shoulder. She wore simple attire, a fitted top, durable trousers, and scuffed athletic shoes. Nothing overtly declared her background, but she couldn't conceal her disciplined bearing, her erect posture, her resolute jaw, each step measured with precision. Her father used to call it a soldier's gait, and she smiled at the recollection, a fleeting glimmer of nostalgia on her toughened face. As she passed a group of adolescent boys gathered in front of the store, one of them, a youth of about 16 with a tilted cap, looked up, glanced at her once, then twice, and acknowledged her with military deference. Military, right? His voice was inquisitive, almost admiring. Eva paused, met his gaze, and responded calmly, something like that. The boy grinned, revealing bright teeth. I knew it. My cousin's in the army, he walks just like you. Before she could reply further, one of his companions called him from inside, and the moment dissolved like smoke in the wind. That brief interaction reminded her why she had chosen this existence, why she had endured years in places most only know from documentaries, Helmand, Mosul, Mogadishu. She had commanded units in the darkest hours, under sandstorms that silenced sound and eclipsed light, facing pandemonium and hostile fire. Now at 40, she was home, treading thoroughfares that seemed to whisper buried memories. But that nostalgic tranquility shattered when a patrol car approached slowly, far too slowly for a district where police usually sped by without a glance. Eva continued walking, feigning indifference, but her instincts were already on high alert. She understood the routine. The car window descended with a low hum, and a gruff voice pierced the air. Excuse me. She halted, turning just enough to see him, Officer Marcus Thorne, Caucasian, in his late 40s, with a close-cropped haircut and thick forearms that seemed to exude authority. His reflective sunglasses concealed his eyes, but Eva felt his scrutiny sweeping over her, assessing her as if she didn't belong. Can you tell me what you're doing in this vicinity? His tone was casual, but laced with something else, an arrogance she instantly recognized. Eva gazed back, her face a mask of composure. Walking, perhaps, she replied, allowing a hint of irony to seep into her voice. Thorne scowled, his faint smile vanishing. We've had some incidents around here. Just making sure everything's in order. She didn't waver. Did you observe me committing any incidents? Silence. Thorne's jaw tightened, and the atmosphere between them grew heavy, like the foreboding calm before a tempest. He wasn't seeking answers, he was seeking dominance, and Eva knew it because she had encountered men like him before, individuals who perceived a self-assured black woman as a personal affront. It's my duty, he muttered, leaning towards the open window. She inhaled deeply, suppressing the urge to admonish him. Then I'm simply walking. But Thorne wasn't prepared to yield. He put the vehicle in park and emerged, his imposing figure casting a shadow on the pavement. Hold on, I need to see some identification. Eva didn't move immediately. Her years of training had taught her to evaluate everything, threats, escape routes, and tensions. And this man, with his hand resting near his sidearm, wasn't just a police officer performing his duties, he was trouble. Slowly, she retrieved her military identification from her pocket and held it up, without surrendering it. Thorne snatched it from her hand with a swift motion, turning it between his fingers as if it were a prize. Special Forces, huh? He read aloud, his tone derisive, as if the words were a jest. Are you sure this isn't counterfeit? Eva felt a flicker of annoyance, but she crushed it with the same discipline that had preserved her life on the battlefield. You can verify it. You'll soon discover if it's genuine. But Thorne didn't desire the truth, he desired a confrontation. And then the street began to fill with inquisitive onlookers. A young woman pulled out her phone and began openly recording. Others paused, murmuring. Thorne's power, so certain moments ago, began to waver under the weight of the gazes. You have an issue, he snapped at the girl with the phone. She didn't respond, simply continued recording. Eva allowed a faint smile to play on her lips. Now, he was the one under observation. Thorne took a step closer, invading her personal space. I don't know who you imagine you are, but I give the directives here. Eva looked him directly in the eye, her voice low and resolute. Are you certain about that? Then he made his grave error, he attempted to seize her wrist. In an instant, Eva reacted, not with aggression, but with precision. Her arm moved, breaking his hold before it could fully form, and Thorne stumbled back, startled. The crowd gasped. That's assault, he bellowed. But Eva replied with chilling composure, no, that's avoiding needless contact. The man was enraged, his face as red as the setting sun. He called for backup on his radio, but the crowd was already on her side. Backup for what? Someone yelled. Thorne was losing, and he knew it. Turn around, hands behind your back, he commanded, his voice trembling with frustration. Eva looked at him, offering one final caution. If you place those restraints on me, you will regret it. He forced a smirk and reached for his handcuffs. Big mistake. In a fluid movement, Eva pivoted, deflected his advance, and with a twist of his wrist, had him turned around, his own arm trapped. She didn't injure him, but she left him exposed, clumsy, humiliated in front of everyone. The crowd erupted in exclamations, phones capturing every second. Then Sergeant Lena Morales arrived, an older woman with eyes that had witnessed countless scenes. She assessed the situation in an instant and demanded explanations. Thorne stammered a lie about resisting arrest, but Morales saw the identification in his hand and comprehended the truth. Captain Vance, Special Forces, she stated aloud, and the atmosphere shifted. Thorne paled. Morales relieved Thorne of duty on the spot, and although Eva had the opportunity to press charges, she declined. Why not? Thorne asked, stunned. She looked at him calmly. Because I already imparted the lesson you required. As Eva walked away, the neighborhood buzzed with what they had observed. Thorne's career was left in disarray, and Morales knew this wouldn't be the end of it. Later, sitting on the steps of her father's home, Eva spoke with her Aunt Riley. Does this change anything? She inquired. Riley smiled sagely. It's not about altering everything, but about altering something. And perhaps, just perhaps, you did. So tell me, what would you have done in Eva's position? Do you believe one individual can shift the paradigm with a single action? Leave your comment below and share this story if it motivated you, because these narratives, the stories of those who rise and refuse to yield, are the ones that remind us that we all have a battle worth fighting.